You can check out all the episodes of The Table of Truth on our website, www.tableoftruth.com.
This is the end, beautiful friend.
Are you there? Welcome everybody to The Table of Truth. It's the end of the world, but we still here. We're gonna keep recording until the power goes out on us. But hopefully, you know what I'm saying, wherever you're listening, you're getting some comfort, as you know, the brothers of The Table of Truth are here for you to deliver the laughs. Make sure that you're okay.
Wow.
As always, this is your man Cam. With me, as always, is
The other Cam, aka Cam Electronica, Cam Elect Yamaka, Cam in the bunker of his closet, trying to save y'all like RZA had the cure for us. I'm here for y'all. We back.
and as well.
This is Josh, aka Apocalypse, aka I got nothing else.
Basically, we're the three horsemen.
Word.
Missing pestilence.
So,
This recording
this
is the last Will and Testament.
Yeah, exactly.
Truth.
Yep, exactly. This is gonna be really fun to listen to a year from now, because then it'll be like. So yeah, you know, Table of Truth is back. What's going on in the world today, fellas? You guys all right?
Oh, nothing. Yeah,
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Welcome to the apocalypse.
Oh man.
So yeah, you know, we
3,000.
we are, you know, currently in the midst of a pandemic. Apparently,
Global
there is
pandemic,
a coronavirus, and
What's that you say?
well, you know what
Something
it
to put a
is.
lime in.
Yeah. So I think what's funny, it's not. I shouldn't say funny, but what's interesting is, you know, my girl, she is a medical doctor. She works in the hospital. So, you know, when about 2 weeks ago, when this just started kind of going, you know, pretty much anyone that quote unquote had symptoms or whatever, you know, there's a big panic about it. So, anyways, she comes into the apartment, gives me a kiss, and then, you know, hugs me, and then she's like, "Yeah, so I was looking over this guy that might have the coronavirus." I'm like, "Yo, like, you can't give me a little bit of warning? Like, what's going on?" She's like, "He's fine. He doesn't have it. He just has cancer. It's fine." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Oh, is
But
that all?
but that's the level, because she was saying, like, you know, they had to go through all the tests. They did, you know, all that good stuff, and you know, there's very specific things they got to swap for or whatever, and it came back negative. And there's 3 tests they have to do. There's the first one that's actually the most important one, and then there's 2 after. And so when they told him, I think they told her he was negative, so he went in, told him he was negative, blah blah blah. People were all happy. Then she talks to the people that administer the test, and they're like, "Oh no, he's only clear of the 3rd test, not the first 2." She's like, "What the fuck? I just went up to that dude and made sure he was good." Like, and then they, you know, the text came back negative, but still, it just kind of was like that lack of you know, just thoroughness to make sure things was good.
Jeez.
But I asked her about it, like, you know, how is she dealing with it, you know? And this is 2 weeks ago. She went on vacation, did some things, but what she was saying was, it's one of those things where, you know, it sucks because it's, on one end, you have to be, you know, very serious. It is a serious thing, you know, wash your hands, could have hygiene. But on the other side, the people that just assume they have it off of a cough or like whatever, it takes the doctors away from people that are, you know, sick from other things that are like, hypertension or strokes or this or that. So it's like she has to deal with both now. So she has to deal with people that think they have something, and then the people that actually have something. And I, you know, giving that to pool about, you know, putting the time in, because that's for doctors, especially in the hospital, that's all it is about. It's all about time. And so if I'm dealing with someone that's kind of like quote unquote playing sick, but then it takes me away from someone that might be actually sick, or vice versa. And so
I read something about, like, this one doctor who said the exact same thing, and he was talking about how specifically the thing that's the biggest time suck is, oh, so you think you have the coronavirus? Okay, cool. I gotta now go into like a clean room. I gotta swap out my clothes. I gotta put on like the hazmat, their version of a their version of a hazmat suit, and take all these precautions. Then come back out. Then do the test. Then it comes back negative, and you're like, oh, I just did all that crap for nothing. Then I got to close again. I can see that being like a thing. You
Yeah,
said time
yeah. So that's time
being what
suck,
it is for
man.
them.
And I mean, and she was saying this 2 weeks ago. We're already fast forward already. But she was like, more than likely, most people will get it. It'll be a mild version or a lower version. If you're, our parents, those are the people that we got to really worry about. We make sure they good. They already do hygiene and that. But she was just like, the way it's been mutating and spreading and that kind of stuff, that's why people say it's like the flu, because it has those flu like spreading. And
Right.
she's like, she had said it maybe like a month ago when the first case in Washington happened about being in the nursing home, and she was like, "Oh, it's a wrap." She's like, "Nursing homes are filthy." So like, if one person in a nursing home has it, more than likely all of them will get it within the next like couple weeks. And legit,
goody.
that's where all the deaths were coming from, because they're old, lower immune system, and they're in a nursing home, which is usually super filthy. So
Oh, goody.
she was just basically saying the one biggest thing is just like it's exposing how filthy most people are, because most people don't wash their hands just on a daily basis, like going to the bathroom or whatever. And I thought that was the most interesting, because she's like, yeah, it's exposing, in general, most Americans are pretty filthy. Like they go to the bathroom, they touch everything, they touch their face and that. And so that's it just if nothing else, it'll make everyone at least be a little bit more clean and cleanliness, if you want to put that, because that's next to godliness.
So I'm told.
But I mean, moving forward, now as we've gotten a little bit more far, you have the cancellation of the beloved sports on all fronts, which actually surprised me a little bit. And then when homie that was making fun of it in the NBA got it, then it was like, oh, well, I guess that was the right move.
Karma.
Well, let me add some preference to this. This version is a what would you want to say? I would think of this coronavirus as an iOS update. So in 2013, this strand of coronavirus was a new virus that was discovered, but it wasn't a global threat.
Yep.
There's an article that was written by let me make sure I get his name right, James Gallagher, health and science reporter for the BBC News on July 5th, 2013. And to paraphrase the article, basically goes on to say that a deadly coronavirus that emerged last year does not currently appear to be infectious or enough to pose a global threat, researchers say. This is in 2013. There had been 77 confirmed cases and 41 deaths. Most infections come from an unidentified animal source. The World Health Organization had a conference. They said they posed a question: if this is going to go global, how should we look at it? One person said the concern is that people read this and are not worried about it, but the opposite is true. This is the perfect time to identify the animal host and stop it. 2013, I'm telling you. Let me see. Let me go down a little bit further. They were trying to do their best to predict it, but apparently this was already out. And so 7 years later, after a few iOS virus updates, we now have this new strand. Me personally, I'm in the middle. How the reaction of it is, if it is real as they say it is, and apparently we're taking steps, I kind of think we dropped the ball on preventative measures. Yeah, I'm being nice here. I think we dropped the ball. I think a lot of people dropped the ball. To be fair.
You are the maestro of understatement today.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is kind of like someone had a good point. They're like, normally our president would create a crisis and then solve the crisis, and so it's easy to spin that. This is something out of his control. And so it doesn't matter if you like the president or not, whatever. I feel he's a buffoon, but whatever. But this is one of those things where like, all right, dude, you're a buffoon, but this is a place where we as people that might not like you will root for you because it's in the public interest. So if you could just be a normal ass president for 30 seconds, everyone would be like, hey man, I don't like him, but he is stepping up, making sure things are good. We're handling the crisis, and show that you have some type of competency. Unfortunately, he couldn't even do that. And so that's why that helped spread the the media misinformation and fear about it because of not addressing it and being as serious as he should have been when it was brought to him and things were going outside. Because I think literally at the end of the day, if he would have been, you know, a quote unquote typical boring ass president that would take the different steps, then literally nobody can say shit about him. But unfortunately, he is incompetent like he normally is, and now this is just showing it even more because you can't really spin it, you know.
Well, I for
What I
one, I'm
love.
not.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. After you.
I am not going to just put these slowly on the president because I, for one, like many others, did not take this virus as serious because I mean, we look at the past. We had H1N1, bird flu,
Yep.
swine flu, mad
Yep.
cow. You can go down the list all the way down to Black Plague. I mean, at its root, people were using numbers. You know, numbers don't lie, but they don't always tell a story. They were using these numbers about the percentages of death the flu has versus the coronavirus. Yeah, it's true. Those numbers can stand alone, but you have to think of the capacity of how long the flu's been around and how long the coronavirus has been around. Now, it may be new to some people, but if you go look at your Lysol can, we have ingredients to prevent a strand of coronavirus. We just got a new 7.0 version that's floating around that we have no vaccine. And so I'm no expert from the CDC, but you know, you got to understand the difference between bacteria and viruses. When you have a bacteria, we can have a cure and it can get eradicated. With a vaccine, much like the flu, you don't really get rid of the flu. You just kind of rest up and have your white blood cells kind of fight it off. You know what I'm saying? But you don't get rid of it.
Yeah, you're like past it. And I think that's the thing that's like the exposure to me now is more about the filthiness of us and like just that like basic understanding of like, yeah, you should wash your hands after you go to the bathroom or touch stuff
and wash them for 20 seconds.
Yeah, like it's just like it's funny. I was talking to, you know, older black people, and then one old dude, he was like, "Oh, you know, this one. The thing I want to say is, white people is nasty. They don't wash their hands." And I was laughing because I'm not saying he's wrong, but I'm not saying he's not wrong either.
Bruh. So let's I'm gonna spin this a different way. The positives of COVID-19, aka Corona, aka Rona, which I don't get. Like, okay, but anyway, you know, meetings that could have been emails or actually emails now. Hooray!
Yep. Nice.
You know, working from home is a real thing now for people who thought they could never work from home.
Yep.
Also,
I thought that was funny because the people that have been asking to work from home from their job for whatever reason, they're like, no, we can't do it. It's just too hard. The logistics, blah, blah, blah. And in 2 days, hey, everyone's working from home. To further notice, we'll see you guys in 2 months.
Exactly.
Dude, I walked into my office yesterday and they were like, right, so we're allocating all of these people who, you know, ordinarily would be locked to, like you said, locked to the desk. Every laptop and a bunch of monitors that we had that were spares are all gone. I walked into the tech closet, almost empty. Everybody's got a computer, if they you want to take a cab home, here's a computer. Bye.
So another thing that positives come out of this, you can recite your favorite song. So I'm reciting Inspector Deck's verse from Triumph to wash my hands, which is more than 20 seconds, and I thoroughly enjoy saying it's my favorite Inspector Deck verse for 40 to 50 seconds, which doubly safeguards my hands. But I mean, I do jujitsu
and cleansing.
Yeah, so I do jujitsu, so I'm always having to trim my nails, wash my hands regularly.
Exactly.
I mean, outside of the normal things you're supposed to wash your hands, but I'm always trying to keep my hands clean because I'm always touching another person during practice.
Yeah. You probably get more stuff from, you know, just you rolling than, you know, coronavirus at this point.
Yeah, I can get more stuff going in my kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So the coronavirus, if anything, has taught people to be more cognizant of basic hygienic things.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing the vampire cough. And if anybody doesn't know what the vampire cough is, it's basically putting the elbow to your mouth and you look like a vampire. Blah! You know, you do that. You wash your hands for 20 seconds or more. I do a double, just to be more thorough. What else? Oh, facts about the coronavirus, or is like, you know, basic hygienic things. Washing your hands, being mindful, wiping down your phones, your computer, the things you touch. If you can, wipe down a handle if you have to. If you like, I work in an office, so unbeknownst to people who don't know what I do, I work for a corporation, a tech corporation, and I'm going into different buildings, and I have like 300 something employees. So now, since this has been a heightened, we have sanitizer everywhere, wipes. So when I go to the facilities, I'm always coming back with the paper towel, grabbing the door handle, But you just got to be mindful. But a glove does not protect you. A mask does not protect you from the coronavirus. It protects you from sneezing or coughing on somebody.
Yeah.
But if you have a mask on and someone has coronavirus, you can still get it.
Yeah, and also honestly, the masks are more for because people instinctively touch their face, whether it's wiping their nose, stroking their beard or their eyebrows or whatever. So honestly, the mask is actually more for that. Like instead of touching your face or whatever, you would touch the mask, and that's what would stop you. But yeah, in general, I think like say for instance, I was on a cruise ship over the weekend, and the whole cruise ship everywhere they had hand sanitizers, just little spurts, like just throughout the whole ship on every level, like maybe I would say almost maybe 100 to 150 yards apart, but like as everybody was walking through, you just see it, you just automatically go whoop, do a nice little wipe, and then you would just keep it moving. But it also just kind of kept people in that mode of just like and I flew a plane as well, and when I flew the plane, and what's interesting is people that are flight attendants and stuff, and cleaners of the plane, they have to do exactly what everyone's doing now. They go through and they clean it, and they have to because they could easily get sued or whatever. But you see people, they have their wipes out, they're wiping down the chair, the monitor, the thing, and again, to people's credit, no one was like a dick about it or anything. They'd be like, hey man, you need some wipes? Just want to check it out? Hey, and it was interesting that like walking through the airport, like some people had masks, some people had designer masks, which was stupid. But in general, people were pretty good natured about just like, there was actually a line for people to wash their hands. Like usually there's a line to get into the bathroom. In the dude's bathroom, it was actually a line just to wash your hands. And folks actually was like, being chill. All right, cool. Wash my hands. Good. And they kept it moving. So if nothing else, it does help people to have a little bit better hygiene. I mean, in Japan, they don't got paper towels. You got to bring your own freaking washcloth to dry your hands and shit.
Yeah. So another positive, there's no traffic on the freeway. Awesome. Now I went to the gym just because I do jiu-jitsu, I do CrossFit, and I work I work out in the gym. There's a bunch of people, so I've taken precautionary measures now. And let me backtrack. I was kind of not cavalier, but I felt like we didn't have enough information to make a drastic change to a certain person's lifestyle. So I said, once more information comes out, then I will adjust accordingly. Like I was still going to jiu-jitsu practice because we didn't know enough. We didn't know how hard it hit, how many people were infected, how has it infiltrated the United States of America. We had a feeling it was infiltrated, but we just hear numbers that we didn't know if were true. Oh, one case here, one case there, one case in San Francisco, one case in Santa Clara. So it's hitting home. And my gym just announced today they're going to close down for a few weeks. And there was a competition I was supposed to enter. I'm not sure if it's canceled, but a lot of big competitions have canceled because they gather a lot of people from all around the world, and it's more than 100 people. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
I recently went to a Thundercat concert, and this is before we had a national state of emergency. And, to be safe, I just played in the backfield. I didn't go up to close. I was just in the back, just, head nod. I could see Thundercat very well. So I wasn't concerned, but I had my ears perked because to me, this still feels like flu 2.0. Right. We just don't have a vaccine. What gets me though is the mass hysteria. Now, there's a fine line between being well informed and going out and thinking we're about to be in the zombie apocalypse. Now, if the zombie apocalypse does happen, please, I hope your cardio's up because we don't want the zombies from 48 Hours chasers. We want the George Romero zombies out there that you can outrun.
Seriously. But
getting back to reality, it's getting kind of ridiculous how people are freaking out. These shopping habits, buying a bunch of toilet paper.
Yo, I don't understand. Up with the toilet paper? I don't get it.
Build a toilet paper fort.
Well, you know what?
It keeps you safe from the people who are infected.
The simplest explanation is that people value toilet paper so much they don't want to have to go to a public place to get toilet paper. But what happens when you go to get toilet paper? You're with 1,000+ people at Costco or whatever. Dude,
this shit was so nuts, man.
Just buy one roll, get one hand sanitizer, and keep it moving.
Here in New York, it's just it's taken on interesting proportion. So taking the subway especially is highly entertaining these days, to say the least. Like you say, there's lots of people with the masks with the different caricatures on them and whatever, and as you say, look absolutely ridiculous. But the kicker for me was the lady on the train with the rubber dishwashing gloves. She was the highlight of my week. I'm like, what are you doing? And the kicker was the people with the masks on the train are looking at this lady like, yo, you being wild extra right now. I wish I was able to video that, could see their reaction, and it's heightened because all you see is their eyes, but you can see the judgment in their eyes. Is like, yo, you being wild extra. I'm looking at all three of them like, all of you are being.
I mean, we're if you
wash
go look
your
at
damn hands.
If you go look at the Hong Kong, I mean, people wear masks because it was like hitting hell hard. We just wasn't getting all the pertinent. So now wearing a mask, like the last time I thought wearing a mask was prevalent is when we had the Oakland fires. Man, we had a lot of smoke and it was crazy.
Yeah.
So if you saw somebody with a mask on,
that makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now I think it makes sense because now we have a little bit more information. We're getting a fundamental understanding of how it's being spread. And so the mask is just the extra precaution. So you see someone with a mask, you don't even think twice about it anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You know, you see a person with a mask,
also-
you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? So,
Oh, well, and also in other countries, like a mask, like in Korea or China,
It's
those
pretty
like
common.
that's
Yeah.
it's
common.
common.
If you have a cold, you have a mask on so you can protect other people from your cold. But then I think what the annoyance part was, well, and there's two. One is, misinformation. That's one. Two is the information that is there, it hypes it up. That's three. That's two. And then for three, now you got all the conspiracy theories, right? So you have tons of conspiracy theories, like where it comes from, why it was coming, all this other stuff. Then I had a good friend who it's him and his older sister, his younger sister. And his younger sister, she's gay, she's married, they're in California, but his mom and his older sister are straight up 100% MAGA, diehard card carrying the whole nine. And so like they have a group chat, as they do as family, and he's kind of like, hey, just got some precautions, make sure you guys got your washing and hand sanitizers and da. And then his older sister was on some just like, yo, this is just the Chinese people trying to do da. And he was just like, yo, I didn't even need to go there. I just saying, just at bare minimum, just be be a little bit more clean, make sure you have some hygiene. And it turned into this big, huge thing. And he was saying, he's like, yeah, man, it's something that I have been trying to deal with my own fam because I have a part of my family that's like hardcore, the government's out to get you, but not Trump, but the government, the deep state. Like they really believe that shit to their core. Like they legit moved to Texas because California was too liberal. Like that's the but then when you have something like this where it's like health and all that, he was like really struggling because he's like, yo, man, like they legit only get information from very small sources. So like all the conspiracy shit and all that, they take that as gospel. So it's hard to have a conversation with them when he's like, I'm not even talking politics. I just want to make sure that you guys are good in terms of your health stuff. But you're sitting there telling me that China invented the freaking coronavirus to show Trump who's boss and the tariff wars and the this and that. And like, he's like, I don't care about that. I'm just making sure you guys is good.
Look, fear and anxiety about COVID-19 can cause people to avoid or reject others, even though they are not at risk for spreading the virus. Mm-hmm. We need to be informed well enough to make an adjustment to your life and prepare yourself. You don't have to buy all the rolls of toilet paper. You don't have to buy all the like. Peep this. I'm so glad I randomly bought sanitizer at 7-Eleven like 4 months ago. Just randomly had it. I never used it because I'm always washing my hands. I always was a firm believer that hand sanitizer wiped away the natural defenses you had. So I was always washing my hands the normal way.
You're right.
So I finally busted that thing out. I was like, wow, I still got a full bottle. Not knowing that the people were going to go ballistic and just buy up everything. So I walked into Target the other day. It literally looked like a scene from Zombieland. The shelves were wiped. And it kind of freaked me out that people would act this way. They're starting to show their true colors, and they're showing how unprepared they are. Like, I'm not going to buy a bunch of pasta. I'm not going to do all this. Like, it doesn't seem, to me, I don't feel we have to, like, bunker down for World War III where we can't come out. Not to
Yeah,
my knowledge.
yeah. One of my friends, he was at Costco and he was like with his wife and stuff, and then they're buying food or whatever, and he was just like, yeah, it was weird because he's like, people weren't too crazy. This is in New York and Queens, but at the same time, people were definitely a little bit more on edge. But he was like, I passed by, the frozen food section, and that whole section is gone. He's like, then I get next to like fresh fruit and all that stuff, all there.
Yeah. Well, because fresh fruit is perishable.
I was at so on my way home yesterday. I passed through Penn Station. I popped into Dwayne Reed for something. I don't even remember what it was, and I think I sent you guys a picture of it. It's just there's like whole racks of cold remedies and any toilet tissue or any sort of thing like that. Just the whole shelf, the whole aisle empty. It's ridiculous. Of course, now you get around the way, people been stocking up. Black folks stock up because we don't like going to the grocery store necessarily. So we got sure. Like you said, you went to go grab some Purell. You bought some like 4 months ago, so you stocked. You good?
Yeah.
Wait, but hold on. I mean, what did the ginger ale section look like?
That is in the Caribbean community. I must confess that the ginger ale section is a little light. I will say that.
I mean, I got questions asked to me when I went to the gym. We have COVID-19 questionnaires, and they're not supposed to let you in the building if you answer yes to any one of them. Mm-hmm. And the other day, I walk into work, and they was like, "Have you been coughing?" I was like, "I've been coughing since last year, like 40 years old." You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you want to send me home. But like, I've had an on and off cough because of this time of year's allergies. But I'm not trying to make light of it. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I've on and off had a cough.
Yeah, I think because like I went on a work trip. I was in Florida, Miami, was on a cruise, and like this is all going on prior to the kind of the ramp up. Like NBA hadn't been canceled yet, all that kind of stuff. But like this is just not even a maiden voyage. This is more for operations or whatever. But people were being, pretty clean. Like, we're going to make sure your hands are clean and wiping stuff down and all that good stuff. But my boss, he's already kind of a germaphobe, a little bit, not crazy. But when he was out already, he saw like literally maybe like 50 hand sanitizers, like just there. And he like legit bought the box. Took it with him when he went to travel, and then there's about 40 of us on the crew. He was like, "All right, guys, you guys, I want to give you guys a little gift for our trip this weekend." And it was funny because everyone was like, "What are you doing, man? This on the black market. You can sell this for like $30."
Okay, so that's the problem I have with people. Bunch of capitalist crooks they are.
Yo, man.
Chaos. It's a crisis, and you're trying to make a profit through capitalism.
Yep. Chaos breeds opportunity.
So true. Can we segue the rapper reaction? So when I was on Twitter, in the span of 30 minutes, 3 things happened. Tom Hanks, white people can get coronavirus, unbeknownst to y'all out there, but Tom Hanks got coronavirus. Forrest Gump and his wife got coronavirus, and then 20 to 30 minutes later, the NBA was canceled. I was like, holy shit. All it took was Tom Hanks for people to realize we got a fucking problem. But
Tom Hanks has it.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy part about the Tom Hanks situation, though, is, and this is the part that, someone brought to light, which I thought was good, was that him and his wife are in Australia. So they felt symptoms. They went somewhere, got tested, and then they're like, boom, you have it. And they were like, well, I guess we got to hang out and chill. They've been just kind of chilling. But the doctor was saying, he was like, yeah, but that's in Australia. Like, if he was in America, if he was in New York or Washington or California, if they've had those symptoms and went to the hospital, he's like, it would be a little while before they would even know if they had it or not. And then on top of that, in some places in New York and in California, you can't even get the test yet. You got to wait for X amount of time. So he was like, it was actually lucky that they were in Australia because they can get it. You can get the test, I think they were saying like in Senegal, and find out the results in 4 hours. In America, you could get the test. You're not finding out till next week.
So put it like this. You see that ball? You see that ball over there? It was dropped. And who dropped it? We did. I'll let you guys know.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean,
the president's reaction to this, like Monday, they were doing a press conference, and he's like, disappear. It'll be fine. From Monday to Wednesday, we went from, or Monday to Thursday, excuse me, we went from it'll be fine to emergency, a national state of emergency. This is amazing. This man, it is mind-boggling to me the level of mismanagement that this man and unpreparedness that this dude has. He is so bought into the idea that you can't, or he can't, believe in science, and he can't believe in the professionals around him who are degreed up the nose and knowledgeable in these very same things. I mean, there's a panel. There are two things that happen. There was a panel that's designed specifically to combat, handle, and respond to global pandemics. They deaded the whole that whole department. Then there are CDC cuts that were made that were on the table before this all popped off, and the dude in charge of the budget is still in charge of the budget for them. Is still on some. Oh no, those cuts are still on. They're still gonna get. I'm like, why would you not be pulling from everywhere? Yo, how much do y'all need? Triple it. No problem. You have it.
And I think that's the thing. Like the I was listening to one of the podcasts, and they were just talking, and they're former Obama aides, and they're basically saying they're like, they went through Ebola, they had some other ones, but they were saying that, like, unfortunately, just the baseline things of doing stuff, like, when just informing the public about what's the facts on it. Like, I watched I watched a little bit of the address that was horrible, but I watched the press conference today that this was on Friday the 13th, and literally he could have just went up there, stated the exact facts of what was going down and what was going. Here's the problem. This is what we're doing. This is what's going down. All right, good night. And everyone would have been like, cool. Instead, he came up there with a couple scientists, then a bunch of CEOs from different private sector companies that he was going to basically giving money to do whatever. And it was like nothing was about, hey, public, chill. This is the facts. This is what we're working on. This is what needs to be done, and then go from there. But instead, it was just a circus, and it was just unfortunate because you're just like, yo, man, like, it's like this is a point where people that even don't like you is still going to root for you because we got. Yeah, exactly. We're not like, and it makes it even worse was he was hanging out with the Brazilian president and his aides. One of the aides got coronavirus. And the Brazilian president, thankfully, I think it was negative. But at CPAC, which is another conservative convention, there was I think one or two coronavirus people there, and so a couple senators had came in contact with that individual. They've self-quarantined, and they've self-quarantined themselves. They're like, "Whoa, I'm not sure if I have it or not, but let me just chill, close my offices or whatever." Someone asked Trump, they're like, "Yo, you were hanging out with somebody that had coronavirus. Shouldn't you be quarantining yourself?" He's like, "No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm not concerned.
I'm good."
Yeah. Are you gonna take the test? He's like, yeah, maybe. I'm like, yo, it's so. And the worst part is, if he even got it, and say he could, let me even back up. He says that answer while every time someone comes up to the podium, he's shaking their hand and doing all this, and it's like, dude, my man, baseline stuff that you're failing on. That, and I think that's the part, but it makes people that say, for instance, rock with them or voted for him or whatever, just look worse because you're like, dude, like I don't have to like you, but there's still baseline stuff that you got to get done to function on your job, and you're showing how incompetent you are. And this is a part where you can't spin it, you can't hide it, you can't do. There's no one else to blame. So it's like, dude, this is actually making you look worse when the one time that all you have to do is just be president, you're failing miserably. And so now until now at this point, it's like, oh, cool, that's your guy, that's your king right there, and he failing miserably. I mean, America has the president they deserve because they didn't appreciate the one that they had.
Oh, hold on, okay, yes, and whatever. I mean, let's not act like Obama ain't got no faults, right?
Oh yeah, I'm the first one that can tell you. I can first one to tell you.
No,
10 negative things about Obama. Off the rip.
That is not what we're saying.
Exactly,
Okay.
and that's
I want to make that clear.
Oh yeah. Dude, I'm
fire off a separate 10 things from Cam that ain't the same.
Exactly.
So, we're not. Yeah.
But at the
But he
baseline,
did
when you
handle Ebola properly.
yeah, and at the end of the day, it's like when you need to be president, there's a certain things you got to do. There's a checkbox, and one of those is helping to dissuade public fear. Unfortunately, all of Trump's actions have incited the fear even more, and that's what makes it worse. And then you have
And
the media can compounds on it, social media compounds on it, and it's like, dude, you're in the throes of social media right now, and you're legit making it worse. And it's like this is not good.
Well, to be fair,
and
his
what's
election
disturbing
was
to
based
me
off fear.
is that Mike Pence is actually looking very presidential right now, and I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, straight up.
He put Mike Pence in charge of the
Yep.
panel that's
Mhm.
attacking this thing, and he's just like, well, let me refer you to so and so, the head of blah blah blah
Yep.
department, to answer that question because I don't know how to answer that because I'm not a global pandemic expert.
Yep, basic
So
shit,
here's
man.
the guy.
Basic shit. It's literally not rocket science. Like you don't have to say shit. You could just be like, these are the facts. Here's the scientist. Talk to him. I'm out. And people would be like, okay, cool. But just that baseline. And I think that's the part to me. It just shows even more of the incompetency. So now it's like, whether, coronavirus is as serious as, people as media wants to take it out, or whether it's not that serious, it doesn't help that you have an incompetent president that doesn't help you either way. Like if it wasn't that serious, do the basic shit to make sure everyone's good, keep it moving. If it is that serious, all right, let people know they need to be doing and go on. But being incompetent just exasperates all aspects. Because like you said, people don't know all the facts. So then, some people are freaking out, some people are not. It's just we're in this weird space. So I'm really curious to see how the next month plays out. And as we're talking about with NBA, as my friend said, he's like, they just don't want LeBron to get a ring. That's all it is.
Wow.
So I'm gonna say this, right? You say this. Rudy Gobert is an idiot, but I'm not gonna fully blame him because he may not be the hero we wanted, but it's the hero we needed because I don't think he's the only one that got infected. He was just the one that got outed for being.
Donovan Mitchell also got it. So
because he got it from Rudy Gobert.
Yep.
However,
there it is.
But I'm pretty sure there's probably another player that hasn't come out. We don't know because these reporters, he got it from basically maybe touching all these microphones and having a cavalier attitude. And it's funny that a French person out of all people did it and got this COVID-19. But what it did was a chain reaction. It shut down what was supposed to happen. Shut it down.
Right.
Shut down MLS. Shut down all the major sports in America. When you shut down soccer, the world will take notice.
Fam.
Facts.
Dude, I'm blown away that first of all, Europa League was playing an empty stadium. That was mind blowing to me. Just up to yesterday or day before yesterday was it? And this is after a bunch of stuff had already been shut down. Like Italy, for obvious reasons, was the first to go. Then one of the guys from Spain, I guess he's an Italian player playing in the Spanish league. They shut that down, and it was just dominoes falling day after day after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was blown away that Europa League was still playing. I'm like, yo, guys, it's an empty stadium. Just it's sweaty dudes defending and making body contact with other sweaty dudes. Just shut it down. I mean, I get it because Europa League and Champions League is like billions of dollars per match. So I get it. But at some point you gotta you gotta prioritize public health over your bank account, man.
Yeah, and I think honestly they'll take the L right now for the increased business later on. I believe, anyways, and I think it's probably easier for them to shut it down now as opposed to not shutting it down and looking worse. Like, oh, you guys knew about it, but then blah 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 blah. So it's like, I mean, it makes sense. They're taking the L now, but and especially for soccer, the millions of dollars that's getting lost right now, millions, freaking crazy. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm really curious to see, just not even on the political aspect, but how it changes the dynamic of society in terms of how people interact each other, and and that and it's just how people and also just how people interact, because we were already having problems with anxiety and depression and people feeling like super lonely and shit because of our phones and FOMO and this and that, blah blah blah. And now with this almost like forced isolation, how are people going to reach out to people and they hang out? Like are we going to be people going to be playing way more video games? Are more babies going to be born? Like, what's good?
Or both. Who knows?
or both.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
But
sure,
I'm
sure.
curious to see how people start to do that, because I think for myself, I live in the suburbs in Southern California. None of my friends are near me, so I connect with my friends through technology. So whether it's WhatsApp, the podcast, through text messages. So I'm used to that already. So that's how I've coped with it, because I'm not around my friends all the time physically. But I'm curious to see going forward how people start to do that. And
Wait, you say you live in Southern California?
yeah.
Hold on. So there's NorCal, there's SoCal, and then there's Palm Springs and San Diego. Those are separate.
Yeah, it's true. But
Wow.
I currently live in Redlands, which is in the Inland Empire, which is
pardon me.
closer to West Covina and all that. So yes, I live in Southern California.
In the grimy hood, as our friend Paul and C used to say, in the hood of West Covina.
Yep.
Nice.
Born and raised. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this will affect our society as the large, because we've had different types of things. Like I know a person that got swine flu straight up, and he's like, yeah, it sucked. I had to be isolated for a little bit, but I'm still here, and I had it. It sucked, but that was about it. It didn't, it made me a little bit more cognizant of things that I do after. But like, yeah, he's like, I got the swine flu and I survived. Cool. So I think in that respect, I'm curious to see in this like heightened reality that everyone's going to be in, where what's going to happen and how it goes from there.
The amazing thing for me is, like you said, the ancillary impacts. The stock market has been bonkers all week, son. And one of the pundits that I was checking,
buy Bitcoin,
son, dude, you joking? But one of the things I saw, one of the pundits that I was watching, was like, it's curious that the president has not mentioned in the addresses that he's done, and all the times that he's been at the podium for the week, not mentioned the stock market not once, and none of the other remedies. Like the Fed threw what, $1.5 trillion into the system, bumped for like an hour, and it tanked right back to where it was.
And even them cutting that rate, that's actually a really weird thing to do for them, because normally when they're going to cut rates, there's like a commission, like people come together, they talk about it, and they do it. But this time there was just kind of like, oh, let's just cut it by like 0.5%, and then to quote unquote stimulate it, and it shit didn't work. And then also in the economics realm, like, basically Trump saying anything will fuck up the markets, and that's what's been happening. And
which is interesting.
The crazy part was when the markets opened, it was like down 7% within like less than whatever time period. The system automatically shuts down.
Yep. And did it twice this week.
That's crazy. Like we losing too much money. Let's shut this shit down. Let it reset tomorrow morning. Like, wow. So I think there's always, especially for conspiracy theories, there's always a little bit of truth in some of them, but it's going to be interesting how this, plays out, because, if it goes in the way that it's going now, we can, face a recession or something to that effect. And then like Cam said, there is an election later on this year, and we'll see who Americans actually blame for all of this. But it doesn't help that, on the Democratic side, the current front runner now is a senile old man as well. Exactly. That is a appropriate response to the current state of American politics. That is an appropriate response.
Hey, if you want to know, predict the future, just watch The Simpsons.
This is true.
This is true, bro. This is true. They predict damn near everything.
Some of the smartest writers in Hollywood are usually at The Simpsons, so that makes sense.
We're going to look back and be like, all you had to do was watch The Simpsons.
Matt Groening was a prophet.
Seriously. Seriously. Speaking of prophets.
True. Nicely done.
Speaking of prophets.
Segue.
Nicely done.
So I want to say this.
Wait, hold on. Cam, was there any musical stylings that have dropped in the recent time frame that might warrant us to have a conversation?
Yeah, Guap Dad 4000 dropped an album. And our Lord and Savior, the Messiah, the prodigal son, has returned after his 11-year hiatus to drop Hotep knowledge and wear pyramid caps and bless us with the knowledge of W.D. Fard Muhammad. for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the FOI,
Yes.
the NOI, bringing it back down to save us all. Nah, I'm just joking. But yes, Jay Electronica has finally
After 11 bloody years.
released the album since his amazing debut. What the fuck is a Jay Electronica?
What
Now-
has it been 11 years? That's what it is.
It has been
11 years.
11 years since his last release.
Wow,
11 years and one been blessed by Jezebel baby mama
And
Erica
two Jay-Z babies.
and two Jay-Z's. That we finally,
is he still with that Eris back in? Wasn't he hanging out in like France or some shit for a while?
man, I don't know where Jay
Elves,
Electronica
dude. Yeah.
is. I think he was chilling with Dr. Manhattan writing this album.
He's a
Who knows?
word. Dude,
So
he's
anyway,
a man of the world. He could be could have been anywhere.
Jay Electronica over the 11-year span was dropping singles here and there. You'd pop up. You're like, oh, okay, here's a verse. Halfway through that 11-year hiatus, I guess he quote unquote got bodied by Kendrick Lamar when Kendrick Lamar was on that Big Sean song, Control, and he got called out. And so,
yeah, true. No, it's not. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar was coming
fair.
for it. Yeah, that's a very fair assessment. It was
Yeah.
to the point
but-
where people forgot that it was a Big Sean song. So that's
exactly.
to that effect. Because I remember I went back now just because I was like I listened to his verse and his verse was fired. And just that Kendrick at that time came with a little bit more fire, and then that's about it. And,
Right.
But anyway,
and that's debatable. So, we heard songs come out here and there, and the one song that we didn't know that was on the album was "Shiny Suit Theory" with Jay-Z. Then we started questioning: you signed with Rock? Is Jay-Z the new Puff Daddy, where he sign you and don't put you out? Blah blah. Jay Electronica started off as like rap savior to turn in almost mythical status and legendary status that he was like
Basically.
almost like seeing you would see the Knicks win a championship or Loch Ness Monster before you would see a Jay Electronica album. And then
Basically.
40 days ago, this man said the album's done, I'm putting in 40 days, and I got excited. Now,
I
let
did
me
not.
preference. I am a Jay Electronica stan.
Surely.
Super fan. I was hooked. So I was that hill you saw, I was one of the lone soldiers still on that hill, ready to die on that hill. And when I retweeted he was coming out with an album, I got so much hate from my friends. Memes and gifs saying, bruh, you're tripping. He's not coming out.
I didn't think he was.
And then late last night, 12:01, he dropped an album. And let me just say,
Jay-Z album ever.
Okay, so I said Jay-Z occupies that album like Ghost occupied Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links. If you didn't say that was a Raekwon album, you would think, oh, it could be Ghostface, could be Raekwon's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's comparable lyrically or what it did for the culture. I'm just saying. I did put it up there. My friend was like, "You comparing Ray and Ghost to this?" I was like, "No, I'm just saying." When people say it's a Jay-Z album, I'm just saying, well, Ghostface occupied Ray album just as much as Jay.
Contextually, yes.
Now, I will say this. I did want more solo stuff from Jay Electronica.
Yes.
People are saying that Jay-Z bodied Jay Electronica in the album. I'm just like, let's I want to take a step back. Now, I think you have to be of a certain understanding of what Jay Electronica is talking about. Because he's got heavy dealings with the NOI, the FY, he's dropping knowledge. Now, it's funny that Jay-Z started rapping like an Anunnaki rap, and he got the cap on, he started rapping about pyramids and stuff. I was like, we ain't heard this Jay-Z. If you expecting Big Pimpin' Jay-Z, think again.
Yes, sir.
Think again. It slaps. Starts with Farrakhan. You got everything that Jay
There's at least three.
It basically an album made for Muslims. I think this album's made for Muslims. Straight up. Look, I love the album. I'm not saying it's a classic. I just enjoyed the album. I'm glad he came out with an album finally. I hope he comes out with more albums. I hope he comes out with an album that's mainly him. I don't mind having Jay-Z on the album. I don't mind hearing these lyrics from Jay-Z. It just reminded this man is 50 and can still get in the ring and still spark the best of him.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I would say. I haven't listened to it, but the one thing I have to give Jay-Z is the consistency of like he still will consistently be good. I think, and like,
I
and I think
guess he's
that's
cognizant.
yeah. And like he doesn't have, and I think that the thing about Jay-Z that I find that's dope is like, he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to rap, but he likes rapping, and then when he does, he's still on a level that it would be a certain way, and I think that's dope. Like at least he puts that time, a little bit of that time in to be like, yo, if I'm gonna still rap, I'm still gonna be good. I'm not gonna come out with some whack stupid shit.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
to the last point that you made, it's just interesting how like Jay Electronica's production is a little bit more on the undergroundy side, and Jay knows
underrated.
exactly what to do, how to do when he's on those tracks. He always has, and apparently always will. He's gonna be 90 still dropping jewels like what he did on this dude's album.
I hope not. I hope he ain't no 90-year-old rapping. I'm not trying to see Ghostface at 80.
I'm obviously being facetious. No, I agree with you.
Well, but in stuff like in jazz and rock and other things, like their artists can be old and still do stuff. I think hip hop is the only one that people didn't really. We had no frame of reference. It's only been around for about 40 years, a little bit longer than that. So it's like now that all these favorite rappers are in there, starting to become in those ages, we're starting to see if it's still possible. And props to Jay-Z for being about 50 and still being able to drop stuff that people want to listen to. And that's not everybody's been doing it, but I think that's dope that he can kind of show that model, so then you can see the longevity. Because all the old folks from the late 90s, they still drop music to this day. It's just the fact of whether you're paying attention or not. Like I think who was it? I was talking to somebody and someone was like, yo, KRS-One has like 30 plus albums or some shit like that. I was like, what? And I don't have anything against KRS-One, but I'm not checking for him like that. But then I started to look and I saw all the albums that he's still continually making music.
Mm-hmm.
The Freeway first album, I think that came out like 15 years ago or 16 years ago or something like that. And then I was looking him up and I'm like, yo, Freeway's been still dropping albums, during that span of the 16 years, whether you check for them or not. So it's like, I think because hip hop has a lot of a very short term memory, sometimes they forget that certain people are. If you really a fan, then that they're continually doing the good stuff.
For sure.
But your average fan is kind of like, oh man, you still around?
Man,
man.
Just to highlight, Jay said a line. Said, "You backstabbers gonna turn me back to the old Jay," and it took me 12 hours to dissect that line to get what he was actually saying.
Dude.
So there were the entendre in that line. He allegedly stabbed Un Rivera at the club. Mm-hmm. That's the old Jay. A backstabber song by the old Jays and OJ Simpson. I even took it a step further and said, you gotta stab the box of orange juice with the straw.
This guy.
This man, Jay-Z, man.
Open your third eye.
Oh, bro, I got my Hotep hat on. I was ready. Because, so I grew up learning Allah's mathematics before I became a Sunni Muslim. So this album spoke to me. I was in the car. Man, I was in the car looking like Malcolm X in the movie Malcolm X when he was about to get murdered. I was just dissecting the whole. I listened to this like 6 times already, just going back. And one of my favorite tracks on the album is it's 2, The Ghost of Soldier Slim, when Jay-Z opened it up.
Oh my
God. Then and The Fruits of the Spirits, which is the one song Jay-Z wasn't on, and I wish it was longer.
Yes.
And the one the Alchemist did, The Never Ending Story, that beat is bananas.
And as you bring that up,
bananas.
And as you bring that up, I like that this album brings together elements of the best Jay Electronica stuff, like the stuff that he did for the stuff that he sampled from the mind of the what is it? The Mind of the Eternal Spotless Mind, whatever the hell it is.
That's from the first mixtape.
Yeah, like that was amazing. Like I could listen. It's a 15-minute like nonstop mixtape, and it's amazing. But it's not like hardcore boom bap. It's a high concept hip hop album, is what it is. Mm-hmm. And the first like 2 or 3 tracks on the album is pretty much like that. No beat, just a sampled loop that's like got a weird kind of tilt to it, and dude's timing is ridiculous.
Well, I mean,
he used the Army of Shadows. Yeah, he used the Army of Shadows. Yeah, he used the Army of Shadows sample. on one of the songs, and it was. I mean, I'm a stan, obviously, but I do enjoy the album. Like I said, I'm glad he came out with one. Do I wish it was just more Jay Electronica than Jay-Z? Yes. But I guess this is Backpack Jay-Z, Pyramid Caps talking Jay-Z's Watch the Throne version, where you had the Kanye Watch the Throne, and now you have this Jay Electronica Watch the Throne kind of collab.
Interesting.
So, I mean, again, let this album digest for a month. Re-listen, and see how it pans out. I'm not calling it a classic, but some songs stand out. And lyrically, that's when you go in with the Magnolia Wizard, you gotta step your pen game up. And Jay-Z was talking some other talk. I was like, yo, this is the shit I'm talking about, B.
Yes,
this
sir.
is the shit I'm with the NOI. I'm ready for this. I was ready to get out on the street and sell a bean pie. That's how pumped up I was.
But I think also
was
too,
ready.
though, you need, I think for especially someone like Jay-Z, they kind of need the young energy to kind of get them up there, you know? And I think sometimes it's like especially for a lot of the rappers and it's all with all creatives. Like there's a certain level where you're just not inspired by people anymore, and if you're not, then you're just kind of like throwing it in. But then if someone really gets inspires you, then you're back at it.
Well,
go ahead. Sorry.
I think also it's telling. You can tell that Jay Electronica is the one who did the track listing for this album, because he's got probably a treasure trove of stuff that's already been recorded in 11 years. He's probably been in the studio. God knows how much stuff he's got recorded.
I don't know. That man came out with a track list that was in Arabic, and I was like, bruh. Like, I'm Muslim and all, but man, my Arabic ain't up to par. I was like, come on, G. I had to use Google Translate to figure out the track list. So,
but to my point though, I think
he got Jay-Z.
I agree with you. He could have gone a little lighter on the Jay-Z guest joints and been a little bit more heavy on, like, he's got bangers. I know Jay Electronica has solo bangers with just him on it. I agree with you. I think he could have stood to highlight himself a little bit more, because, like I said before we went on the air, this is the best Jay-Z album in years.
And that man waited to the end of the world to drop an album.
That's just
he waited to the end of the world. So peep this Jay Electronica line. Sometimes I was held down by the gravity of my pen. Sometimes I was held down by the gravity of my sin. Sometimes, like Santiago, in the crucial parts of my novel, he said, excuse me, in the crucial parts of my novel, the only logical option was to transform into the wind. Ooh, boy.
Wait, people still care about lyrics?
Man.
Apparently.
Hey, Chance the Rapper said the Never Ending Story got him walking around the crib shadow boxing. That's when you know you pumped.
Mm-hmm.
You pumped. I was ready to face Thanos. Like I was like, let's go.
Dude, before we started recording, you saw how I came on.
Yeah. Oh, I was like that last night.
Man, listen.
Yeah.
No,
you
but
you can ask anybody. You have to work hard to get me on some head bobbing like that.
I mean, I was screaming. I was like,
again?
bars. I was just saying bars.
That's hilarious.
Bars. Pure.
But
hilarious.
Was it worth 11-year wait? I don't know. I like the album. It's dope. I hope we get more. And like my man right here says, what do you say? Oh, here. That was me last night. Like standing on the tabletops, screaming out. I was like, I never doubted you, dog. I never doubted you. I believe these non-believers out here didn't know. So,
that's hilarious.
I believe that. I think people forgot. I think people forgot for sure. I like you. I'm definitely a hardcore Lex stan. And y'all know I don't stand for nobody, but this is solid. But also, like I said, I think the one knock is he didn't have somebody produce the album with him and say, okay, let's take one of these Jay-Z tracks, guest joints out and throw in one of your bangers in its place. I think that's the one thing that album needed, was just him destroying one track. So
Yeah. I mean, he came out with a bunch of songs on his SoundCloud page that could have easily been on his album that were
Right.
like solos. I think he had a song called In Tune with the Infinite, you know, that he put out with I can't think of the R&B singer's name. But he had a couple songs. He had songs with the Bullets that he could have came out with as like stuff he could have put on his album. But he put the Shiny Shoot Theory. I was just surprised that Jay-Z was featured on that track so much. I was like, wow, that's a lot of Jay. I mean, people were joking, is this a Jay-Z album or is this a Jay Electronica album? I'm just like, it's an Electronica album. But like Jay-Z came through. I'm not mad at him for coming through lyrically.
Oh my Lord.
But Jay Electronica, you got to go back, listen to them lyrics, and man, it's spitting.
I've been this happy about a hip hop album in a very long time.
Yeah,
man.
I think that's dope because I mean I remember who was it? Oh, it was Questlove when he was they were asking him about when 444 came out, and he was talking about how, you know, it's been a long time when, you know, a rap album comes out and everyone wants to talk about it. Like you call your friends and you get excited about it, you go over the lyrics and do all that. And like in this era, we don't have those type of drops anymore. And then you know, before you had the tease of the single that comes out, then later on the video comes out, then the album. Nowadays people have, you know, they just drop the whole album and then it's like you listen to it like, oh, this is cool, then you move on the next day. So he's like, when they have something that comes out that people want to talk about and the heads got to get together and get to debate and say what lyrics mean, he's like, that's the part of hip hop that I miss from the old days coming into the new.
Yeah, somebody said about the Jay. It took. He said Jay Electronica lyrics speak to the diversity of blackness. I'm like, did he just rap in Pidgin, Arabic, French, Nola flow, and then Yoruba, Spanish, all in one verse? The dude Joshua Kissy said that.
That's the homie.
Yeah, close friend of the pod. But yeah, man, like I first reaction, I was like, yo, this is sick. But then I'm gonna have to take a step back, analyze the album, and like I said, I do wish it was more a recognizable Jay album. I'm not mad at Jay-Z being on half of the tracks. I feel like the one track he should have been on, he wasn't on. That track flowed so crazy. But yeah, and then big ups to there's this group, I don't know how to pronounce their name. Kurungaman. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's spelled KHRUANGBIN. They produced the last song, APIDTA, and that's a damn good song. And then Jay-Z said a line. They both said a line. I got numbers in my phone that will never ring again. Whew. I was like, what?
Right.
What? Like, it's deep. These songs is deep, man. So, but it's funny because I was like, yeah, this man Jay Electronica made an album for just the Muslims. Like, it's like, if you don't understand it, this ain't for you, you know. So, but we finally got a solid album from Jay Electronica. I wish it was. I wish I could say it was a classic. It's not, but it's dope. Yeah, it's dope. I respect it. And being away from the game so long, I wasn't expecting much. But then, like I said, he would drop something that you'd be like, oh, okay, he still got it, you know. There was one. What was the song? It's Just Begun with J. Cole and Talib Kweli. Yeah, he was like, yeah. He had a verse on there that was mind blowing.
Him and most bodied.
Yeah, bodied that. So Jay is that dude. So don't sleep. I'm glad he out. And all you non-believers out there, y'all better believe now. He's back.
The fools.
Yes. Heathens. Heathens.
All right. With that, let's say our final words. Josh, you got a final word?
Jay Elect is the god. That is all.
Cam, you have final word.
I never doubted you, dog. I never doubted you. I knew you was going to come out. You wouldn't disappoint me. And Richter, damn you, hater.
Oh, man. This dude.
He was hating?
Nah, he was just he was trolling me because he didn't think he was going to come out of the album, and I thought he was.
Dude, I didn't think so either. I guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Troll number 2. I seriously sleep. I was like, this dude talking.
I was the only one in the chat that thought I still believed that he was coming out with an album, and then I got brushed off like I was a fool.
Keep your third eye open.
Also, my other last word: watch The Simpsons if you want to know what's going to happen in the world in the future.
in 25 years, right?
Yeah.
My final word is Wu-Tang is for the children. W stands for wash your hands. U stands for use mask properly. T stands for touch nothing. A stands for avoid large crowds. N says never touch your face with unclean hands. And G, go to the hospital if you have severe symptoms. Wu-Tang.
Wow,
is for
and
the
that is
children.
your Wu-Tang PSA.
Also, if you see somebody coughing, don't kill them on sight.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Yo, man, they might be smoking
Like, don't-
weed.
don't
They might have
side-eye them.
allergies. But there's a bunch of things that might happen. Sneezing
Don't be
too.
sneezing for the love of God.
Jesus.
Bruh,
Yo.
our friend Jason Lee coughs all the time. like, we have to quarantine our friends, man. Come on, chill out there, people. You don't need 1,000 hand sanitizer or enough toilet paper to build the city of God.
Also,
So, chill.
why are you using toilet paper in 2020? There's baby wipes. There's freaking dude wipes. There's other things that'll treat your bottom a lot better than harsh ass toilet paper. I'm just
A
saying.
bidet.
A bidet.
The
Thank
99
you.
cent mark
People
count.
need to like literally. Y'all need to level up. It's 21st century, 2020. Get a bidet. Get some wipes. Like your bum will thank you. Just tell him.
Hey, you get a bidet, it will change your life.
Exactly. And on that note,
Especially one with the heated seats.
hey, that's expensive, man. That's rich man right there.
That's level 2.
Well, I feel bad for you peasants. Nah,
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
from the PSA from Table Truth is wash your hands. Not everybody that coughs is going to kill you, and get a bidet.
Don't be a nasty bastard.
Exactly. Jesus, people.
Hopefully we see y'all next month.
I know.
This may or may not be our last program. So.
And this is the Table of Truth, and we are out.
Peace.
Peace. Wash your hands.
You can listen and download to all of our episodes of The Table of Truth on iTunes. Just search The Table of Truth podcast.